Hi everyone, my name is Hammy Grammy, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this. It is a 2-wide flush piston door, but the unique feature of this one is that it's modular and infinitely expandable, which means you can make it as tall as you want. It has a reasonably small footprint. It's only 10 by 3 at the top. At the bottom it gets a little bit bigger, but that's hidden underground. And I am going to show you how to make it. So the way that we're going to build this is going to seem a little bit counterintuitive at first, but it'll start to make sense as we go forward. You're going to want to start with a 2 by 6 platform here, and you're going to put 4 repeaters at each end. Now this platform is going to eventually end up below your ground level, but you'll be able to see where you need to put it as we finish up the design here. You're going to put 4 redstone dust in the middle, and then 2 rows back from that, we're going to put a row of blocks that's 4 long with redstone dust on top of all of those, and a sticky piston at each end. For each of those sticky pistons, we're going to put a block on top and a block in front, and on that block in front is going to be a repeater set at 3 ticks of delay. I'll mention now that this design is entirely symmetrical, except for the T flip-flop part at the bottom, but we'll get into that later. So for now, if you build one side, you just mirror it over to the other side. On each of these repeaters, we're going to put a block in front like this, on both sides, because it is symmetrical. On these two, we're going to put a torch on top. On this one, it's going to go on the side. Similarly on this side, this one's going to get a block on top, each of those torches, and it's going to get a torch on the back face of it like this. We have a line of torches, and on top of each of those, I'm going to switch clay colors now. I'm going to put 3 blocks across the top like that. Now we're getting into the part where the pistons are going to start coming in. So here, you're going to want to put 2 torches on the back like that, and 2 torches on the back like that, and blocks on top like this, and we're building now the torch tree that's going to power the rows of pistons on both sides, which you can see here, done out of red clay. We can also start to place the pistons in so you can get an idea of how tall it's going to need to be. I'm only going to build this one 8 blocks tall, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers tall, and the same for these pistons in the middle. And exactly the same on the other side, like this. There's 8 blocks. And symmetrical like that. So now we have all the pistons in place, and it's easier to place the torch tree like this. So I'm going to go every other one like that, and then like this to complete the tree on both sides. Like this. And then I'm going to place the torches to extend all of these pistons like this, and then along the back as well, so that the signal gets carried vertically upward like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And there we go. So all of these pistons on the side are extended. So far these ones in the middle are not, but we're going to add that part right now. So we also have this torch, which is powering these blocks. So we're going to actually tree up exactly the same as these ones and build out 1 block like this. And then put a block there with a torch on the front face of each of those blocks, which as you can see has now extended these pistons as well. So we're going to do the same thing on both sides, like that. Put a block in front. There we go. And we're going to complete the torch tree like this. There we go. So let's see, yep, we've got the torch tree completed on both sides, and then we're going to put a repeater on 1 tick of delay in the middle, like this. Perfect. So, believe it or not, the door is actually almost complete. We just need to complete the T flip-flop circuit, and then we'll be good to go. So we do that down here. I'm going to start by putting a block like this, whoops, with a torch on top of it like that. And then next to this repeater, I'm going to put a piston with a block on the front of it. Now under this piston, I'm going to put a block, and then under and 1 block behind, another block with a piece of redstone dust on it. It's important to put a button here so that this piece of redstone dust points into that block and won't interfere with this piston. We need to put a block there like that, and I'm going to put a repeater with 1 tick of delay on it there, a sticky piston above that, and a block in front of that and on top, and a repeater on 1 tick of delay, And then you can build your redstone line out like this. Put a piston on that block like that. And there we go. Put some redstone dust in like that. And you're done. So when I push this button, the door toggles, push the button again, and the door toggles back. Okay, so now I'm going to explain a little bit about how this works. Many of you who've built things with pistons before will know that pistons can't push or pull extended pistons. They need to be retracted in order to be moved, which isn't a problem for some smaller piston doors because they can be powered by having blocks in the back of them. But I wanted to avoid that here so that you'd be able to walk through. Now, the downfall of using a torch to power the piston in this configuration is that in order to invert this torch, which I need for this piston to retract, I need to turn this repeater on, or a redstone dust or something equivalent on, which will cause this piston to retract. Now, when these pistons retract and pull this piston into this position, it extends like this, which isn't good for a flush piston door because now your wall is going to be pushed out like that, which you don't want for it to be a flush piston door. And the way that I decided to overcome that was to deliver a pulse to this torch tree, this very last one, at the exact instant that these sets of pistons were going to be retracting the central pistons, the door pistons. And I've done that through these pulse limiters at the bottom here and this very right torch tree here, as well as these repeaters which deliver their signal to this set of torch trees at the exact moment that this central one is retracting. So when you toggle the door, which we'll probably be able to see, you can see that these torches pulse off just as they're being retracted by these pistons, but then this repeater turns off just as this piston lands in this position. Luckily for us, pistons can't be powered when they're moving because they're entities at that point, so the game doesn't recognize them as a redstone object. Now the main advantage to this design is that it's allowed it to be very compact, and in addition, when the door is open, there are no blocks in the way. Many designs for flush piston doors will have you walk through and then immediately go down a staircase or a set of ladders or something because they have a giant wall here that's all powered with repeaters from behind or with torches or something like that. But this design doesn't have any of that. You're able to just walk right through the gap conveniently, and there are no blocks in the way at all. The other nice thing about this design is that its relatively small footprint allows you to use it in a bunch of applications. Some of the bigger piston doors pretty much need you to build a mountain in order to hide them, but this one is thin enough that it could actually reasonably be used in an above-ground structure. Here I've added glass to the outside of it to show you where you might want to cover it up if you did want to hide the redstone. The one thing that I will mention about this approach to adding glass is this piston needs to extend up into this space here. So you have to leave that free, but that's not a problem because if you want to put a wall on the back to hide the redstone and the floor across like this, it automatically leaves a little gap for it to extend into there. Now once you're inside, if you want to open it to get out again, this redstone line that runs to this repeater can be extended anywhere. It connects to the T flip-flop equally as this button over here. So you can actually activate it from either end, it doesn't matter. There, I just opened it, and over here I can close it again. No problem, it works fine from both ends like that. So for one last thing here, I've extended this upward. It's now a total of 64 blocks tall, which would take 6 stacks of sticky pistons if you wanted to do it on your own. I am going to try to break it here, and you can do that by cycling it too quickly. So I've added a lever instead of a T flip-flop, and you can see that you can send a pulse up like this. An open pulse, I guess, so it creates a hole that sort of gradually moves up the tower. And we'll see if we can get it to break, although it doesn't look like it wants to. Sometimes what will happen is these pistons on the side will leave the central pistons behind, or the central pistons won't retract correctly in time or something. No, it doesn't look like it's going to break for us. Let's see. There we go. So you can see that if you cycle it too quickly, it will actually push your wall out from in front of the door, which isn't something that you usually want with a flush piston door. So you do need to be careful about how quickly you cycle it. Doesn't look like it's going to break for me here. But if it does break, if a block gets left behind or a row of pistons gets left behind or something, all you need to do is cycle it again, because the functioning of the door is independent of the position of the pistons. So regardless of where a piston ends up after every cycle, if you switch to the next cycle, it doesn't matter. It'll still cycle correctly. So if the pistons are open or closed, it doesn't matter. It will still cycle properly when you change it at the bottom there. Oh, there we go. I got it to break. Okay. So you can see that this row of pistons has been left behind. I suspect that this is caused by piston lag. So many pistons extending and retracting at once and in sequence up these torch trees is causing these pistons to retract either a little bit too early, which is likely, or a little bit too late to pull these pistons back. Luckily, that problem can be fixed just by cycling the door again. So when I cycle it again, you'll see that those pistons get picked up correctly, and the door has opened all the way through with no stuck pistons. Anyways, everybody, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or need clarification about some part of this device's function or some related feature that you see used in here, leave me a comment below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, also let me know. I appreciate the feedback either way. And I'll see you again soon. Have a good day.